I went to the FedEx office to pick up a package, but the clerk handed me an encrypted drive I never ordered. He said, "Your wife asked us to deliver this exactly 3 years after her death." I froze. Adeline had been dead for 3 years. Inside was a message, "Ask the children why they lied about my death." When I discovered the truth, I realized my family had been hiding a dark secret I never could have imagined. Before we continue, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments what country you're listening from. What I discovered next changed everything I thought I knew about family. Morning Atlas. Felix Hawthorne called from behind the counter. 20 years working this route, and he knew every customer by name. "Got your daughter's package from Seattle right here." I signed the electronic pad, my 65-year-old hands not quite as steady as they used to be. 3 years since Adeline's death, and I still wasn't used to handling everything alone. "Thanks, Felix. Nova keeps sending too much coffee." Felix disappeared into the back room, then returned with a second item. A small black encrypted drive wrapped in brown paper. No return address. "Almost forgot. Your wife asked us to deliver this today specifically." The world stopped. "I'm sorry, what?" Felix pushed the device toward me with his usual smile. "Adeline dropped this off about 3 years back. Said to hold it until November 8th and give it to you personally. Today's the 8th. My keys slipped from my fingers, clattering on the floor. "Felix, Adeline has been dead for 3 years. His smile froze. "What? No, Atlas, that's impossible. She was standing right where you are talking about encryption keys and digital protocols. Very specific about the security. She died November 8th, 2021. Cancer." I was holding her hand. Felix went white. "But she knew all the technical terminology. She was very much alive when she gave me this." The device sat between us like a bomb. The label showed Adeline's distinctive handwriting. Neat, precise, exactly like her mathematical research notes. I need to get home. I drove my Tesla through Fremont's tech-lined streets in a daze. Every routine landmark felt foreign now. Inside our smart home, I locked the door and sat at the computer setup Adeline and I had built together during Silicon Valley's early days. The encrypted drive required a password. I tried anniversaries, birthdays. Nothing worked. Then I remembered something Adeline used to say, "The most important truths are hidden in plain sight, Atlas." I typed our home address. The drive unlocked. A single folder appeared, "The truth about our family." My cursor hovered over it. Opening this would change everything. But Adeline had trusted me with whatever she'd discovered. I clicked. Inside was an audio file, "Start Here, My Love." Adeline's voice filled the room, clear as if she were beside me. "Atlas, if you're listening to this, then I am truly gone, and enough time has passed for you to handle what I need to tell you. I'm sorry for the shock this must cause. I arranged this delivery through Felix because I knew he'd remember me and confirm my identity. You needed proof this came from me." Her voice wavered slightly. "On this drive is everything I discovered in the months before my death. I should have told you then, but I was trying to protect you. Now, protection requires knowledge." A pause. I could hear her taking a shaky breath. "Ask the children why they lied about my death. The answer's on this drive, but prepare yourself, my love. What you find will change everything you believe about our family." Another pause, longer this time. "Orion and Nova did what they did to keep you safe. But in doing so, they put themselves in a position I fear they cannot escape from alone. Trust no one until you understand. Not the police, not our lawyer, not even our children. Not at first." Her voice broke slightly. "You are stronger than you know, Atlas. You always have been. The encryption key for the main files is our first dance song, 'I Love You Forever.'" The recording ended. I sat in the silence of our office, staring at the drive that contained secrets my dead wife had hidden from me. Secrets about our children. Secrets that had apparently gotten her killed. Because if Adeline had arranged this delivery 3 years ago and she'd mentioned the months before my death, then she'd known she was going to die. The answer to my question sat right there in front of me. A folder labeled "Financial Evidence." My hands trembled as I opened it. Whatever Adeline had discovered about our family was apparently worth documenting with the precision of a federal investigation. The first audio file was dated 6 months before her death. "Atlas, I need you to understand what I've found about Orion's sudden success." Her voice was steady but strained. "That AI startup he told us about, the one that made him rich overnight," I ran the numbers. "The company barely exists, but $89 million has moved through cryptocurrency exchanges using shell companies registered to our home address. Our address. Someone had been using our home as a front for massive financial fraud. Bank records filled my screen, statements showing systematic withdrawals from my retirement fund transfers. I'd never authorized digital signatures that looked like mine but weren't. The dates matched Orion's lifestyle changes perfectly. The house in Los Altos Hills, the expensive cars, Reina's designer, everything. An email chain made my stomach drop. From omeridianatechventures.com to Reina, meridian@gmail.com. tgrimmyadvancedtech.corp. Dad's getting suspicious about the retirement account. We need to accelerate the timeline. Reply from tgrimadvancedtech.corp. Handle your father. Reina knows what to do if he becomes a problem. Reply from ReinaMeridian@gmail.com. Don't worry about Atlas. Mom's the real threat. She's been asking too many questions. Mom's the real threat. They'd been planning this. My son, my daughter-in-law, and someone called TG, who apparently ran the whole operation, and Adeline had gotten too close to the truth. The final audio file was dated 2 weeks before her death. Adeline's voice was weaker now, frightened. I confronted Orion yesterday, showed him the evidence. He didn't deny it, just said it had gotten out of hand. But then he said something that terrified me. The TG wouldn't let him stop, now that they were in too deep. Her voice dropped to a whisper. My cancer medication tastes different lately, Atlas. The pills Orion picks up from the pharmacy for me. I'm getting sicker faster than the doctors predicted. I think someone's been tampering with them. The cancer medication. Orion had insisted on handling all her prescriptions, said it was the least he could do to help. If something happens to me, you'll know it wasn't the cancer. Protect Nova. She doesn't know anything. But Atlas, whatever you do, don't trust Orion. Our son isn't who we thought he was. The recording ended. I sat in the darkness, the weight of betrayal crushing me. The boy I'd raised, taught to code, been so proud of. He'd been systematically stealing from me while poisoning his own mother. $89 million. My retirement fund. Adeline's life. All sacrificed for whatever scheme this TG person was running. Outside car doors slammed shut. Heavy footsteps crunched across the gravel driveway, moving with purpose toward my front door. Multiple sets of footsteps. They weren't here to talk. The front door exploded inward as I grabbed the encrypted drive. 3 men in tactical gear swept into my living room. Professional. Armed. I had maybe 10 seconds before they reached the office. Adeline's warning echoed, "Trust no one until you know the truth." I shoved the drive into my jacket and bolted for the back door. My phone triggered our smart home's rear exit, just as boots thundered upstairs. He's not here. Check the office. I slipped through the back garden, staying low behind the hedge. My Tesla was probably compromised. Instead, I sprinted toward the neighbor's fence, grateful for those morning walks with Adeline. There, moving toward Stevenson Boulevard, I vaulted the fence, landing hard in the Johnsons' yard. Their German shepherds barking covered my escape as I flagged down an Uber. 24/7 internet cafe on Pacific Commons. Drive fast. Through the rear window, 2 black SUVs tore from my driveway. They'd searched systematically, but wouldn't expect me to go deeper into the tech district. The cafe was perfect. Anonymous, crowded. I paid for a back corner station and immediately started uploading Adeline's files. Google Drive, Dropbox, iCloud, my old university server. If they wanted this evidence, they'd have to find it everywhere. Excuse me, sir. The manager approached nervously. Some men outside are asking about you. They showed badges. Badges. Of course, TG's operation had law enforcement credentials. Is there a back exit? Through the kitchen. I was already moving. The kitchen led to a service alley connecting to Pacific Commons Shopping Center. From there, I could blend into the evening crowd of tech workers. But I needed height, perspective. The parking garage across from the Apple store rose 6 stories. From the top level, I could see the whole district. 4 SUVs, at least 12 men. They had the cafe surrounded, expanding their search grid. I was trapped. Then I noticed the security camera mounted on the northeast corner. Red recording light blinking steadily. If something happened here, there'd be evidence. These people operated in shadows. They wouldn't risk exposure. I walked directly under the camera and waited. 5 minutes later, the SUVs pulled away. My phone buzzed. Dad, are you okay? I heard about a break-in at the house. Orion. The same voice that used to call from college needing coding help. The same voice that had thanked me at his wedding. The same voice planning my death in those emails. I'm fine, son. Just shaken up. Where did you hear about it? It's all over the neighborhood app. This is serious. You can't stay at the house. Come stay with Raina and me until police figure out what happened. The police. Right. Probably on TG's payroll, too. That's thoughtful. Let me grab a few things first. No, Dad. Don't go back there. It's not safe. I'm sending a car for you right now. What's your location? He was trying to find me. The concerned son act was perfect, but I could hear something else underneath. Urgency. Desperation. Fear. I'll call you back. I need to think. I ended the call and stared at the phone. My own son was hunting me. The boy I'd taught to code was using every digital tool at his disposal to track me down. But he'd forgotten something important about his old man. I'd been writing algorithms since before he was born. Time to remind him who taught him everything he knew. My son's voice sounded concerned, but I had learned not to trust anyone. 20 minutes later, I sat across from Orion at Blue Bottle Coffee in Palo Alto. The cafe buzzed with venture capitalists and startup founders providing perfect cover. But I had to be careful. But one wrong word could put me in immediate danger. Dad, you look terrible. Are you hurt? Orion reached across the table, concern etched on his face. I remembered that expression from his childhood. The same worried look when he'd broken something and blamed Nova. I'm fine, just shaken up. I kept my voice steady. The police said it was probably random. Burglars looking for electronics? That's what I heard on the neighborhood app. He leaned forward. But Dad, you can't stay at the house alone. It's not safe. Interesting. How had he known I wasn't staying at the house? I hadn't mentioned leaving. You're probably right. I was thinking of getting a hotel room for a few days. No need for that. Come stay with Raina and me. We have plenty of space. The same house bought with my stolen retirement money. That's generous, but I don't want to impose. Besides, I should probably stay close to home in case the police need anything. Orion's eyes flickered with something. Frustration. What could they possibly need? It was just a break-in. Well, they asked about Mom's old research files. Apparently, the burglars spent a lot of time in the office. I watched his reaction carefully. Strangest thing, they seemed to know exactly where to look. His coffee cup rattled slightly against the saucer. Mom's research. Why would burglars care about mathematical theorems? That's what I wondered. Unless... I paused as if a thought just occurred to me. Unless someone told them those files contained something valuable. Dad, you're being paranoid. Am I because the police mentioned something interesting? They said this kind of targeted search usually means inside information. I kept my tone conversational, concerned father seeking advice from successful son. Orion shifted in his chair. Inside information from who? Someone who knew the house layout, knew where Mom kept her important documents. I sipped my coffee casually. Someone who had access. Dad, you're scaring yourself. Why don't we go back to my place? Raina's making dinner. He was trying to get me isolated, away from public spaces. Actually, I should probably check on Nova first. Make sure she knows what happened. I pulled out my phone. I'll call her now. No. Orion's hand shot across the table, stopping me. I mean, she's probably at work. Time difference and all. Maybe wait until tonight. Why wouldn't he want me calling Nova? That's when I noticed his other hand. He'd been texting someone under the table. His thumb moved frantically across the screen. You know what, son? You're right. I am being paranoid. I stood up slowly. Thanks for the coffee. I think I'll head to that hotel after all. Which hotel? I should know where you're staying. I'll figure it out. Probably something near the airport. As I walked toward the exit, I caught Orion's reflection in the window. He was still texting, his face tight with concentration. I'd almost reached my car when I heard her voice. Hello, Atlas. Raina stood beside a black Mercedes, her smile cold as Silicon Valley fog. She was dressed in expensive business attire, every inch the successful tech executive. We need to talk. Raina's smile was ice cold as she approached, clearly in control. I was hoping we could avoid this conversation, Atlas. But Orion tells me you've been asking uncomfortable questions. I glanced back at the cafe. My son was inside phone, pressed to his ear, watching us with the expression of someone in over his head. Questions about my retirement money, about my wife's death. Those seem reasonable. Your wife's death was unfortunate but necessary. Her voice carried no emotion. Adeline was brilliant, but she couldn't leave well enough alone. The casual admission hit like a physical blow. This woman had sat at my dinner table, called me dad, and murdered my wife. You killed her? I solved a problem. Adeline discovered our operation 6 months before her cancer diagnosis. The cancer just gave us convenient cover. And Orion, your son is ambitious, greedy, weak, but he's not a killer. That required actual vision. She gestured toward her Mercedes. Get in. We're discussing terms at my office. What terms? You have Adeline's evidence files. I want them back. And if I refuse, Raina showed me a photo that froze my blood. Nova bound and gagged in what looked like a warehouse. Your daughter is very pretty. Tragic if something happened to her. They had Nova, my innocent daughter who'd never hurt anyone. The files atlas, all of them, including your cloud backups. She knew about the uploads. Fine, but Nova goes free first. That's not how this works. Get in. We drove to Orion's startup office in the industrial district. State-of-the-art smart building. One I'd helped design 2 years ago when I thought my son was legitimate. Impressive setup, I said as we entered. Orion could afford it with your retirement fund. 3rd floor. Open concept office glass and steel cryptocurrency displays on every wall. Sit. Raina pointed to a chair. Orion emerged from a side office looking sick. Dad, I never wanted... Shut up. Raina's voice cut like a blade. Your father is transferring Adeline's files to our servers. She pulled up a workstation. I need your cloud passwords, all of them. But I was studying the room's smart systems, the same network I'd helped design. My phone connected automatically. I still had administrative access. You know Raina Orion really spared no expense on this place? I triggered the fire suppression system. Halon gas flooded the room. Emergency lighting activated, elevators locked down. What did you do? Raina spun around, eyes wide. Emergency protocols. In 30 seconds, this floor seals and ventilation shuts down. Orion ran for the stairs. Smart. He remembered the schematics. Raina lunged at me, something metallic flashing. I dove behind a server rack as the room's communications went dark. My override had cut their network phones everything. You think this changes anything? I still have your daughter. I reached the server room, fingers flying across the emergency console. All building systems controlled from here, including external communications. Cut their communications, their whole operation falls apart. My phone buzzed, one call getting through. Dad, Nova's voice, terrified. Dad, help me, they have me. The line died, but I'd heard something in the background. Something that told me exactly where they were keeping her. I had to find help, but Adeline's warning echoed trust no one. But hiding in that server room, I remembered something else from her recordings. There are still good cops, Atlas. Find Detective Sage Hunter. 20 minutes later, I sat in a secure room at the FBI field office. The background noise from Nova's call had been crucial. The distinctive Bay Bridge foghorn. They were holding her near the waterfront. Mr. Meridian, we've been hoping you'd contact us. Detective Hunter had sharp eyes and the steady presence of someone you'd want in a crisis. You know about Raina. We've been investigating Thaddeus Grimm for 3 years. Agent Cypher Kane spread files across the table. Your son's startup is just one piece of a larger operation. Grimm runs Advanced Tech Corporation, Hunter explained. Surface-level legitimate venture capital. Underneath money laundering using Silicon Valley startups as fronts. Your son's company was perfect, young, desperate for funding. And Raina Castellano, her real name. Grimm's top lieutenant specializes in compromising targets. She's been working your family for 5 years. 5 years, since before she met Orion. Detective Ravencross feeds them information from inside, Kane continued. Every time we got close, she'd tip them off. So you can't trust your own people. We can't trust Cross, but we've been building a parallel case. Hunter leaned forward. Are you willing to help us end this? They have my daughter. We know where. Kane pulled up satellite imagery. Grimm owns a warehouse complex near Pier 33. Tech equipment storage officially. Sensitive operations unofficially. The building looked like a fortress. Raina will want an exchange. Your evidence for Nova's life. We can use that. You want me to walk into a trap. A trap we control, but we need inside information, building layouts, security systems. I thought about the integrated systems I'd designed throughout Silicon Valley. I can help with that? Good. Because we have another problem. Hunter's expression darkened. They're moving operations tonight. If we don't act in the next few hours, Grimm's entire network disappears. What about Nova? If they're running, they won't leave witnesses. Ice water in my veins. My daughter wasn't just kidnapped. She was on borrowed time. What do you need? Everything about their technology, security, psychology. Raina thinks she's smarter than everyone. That's her weakness. And Grimm. He trusts Raina completely. Doesn't know she's been skimming from the operation building her own nest egg. Hunter checked his watch. 2 hours before they start moving assets. If we're saving Nova and taking down this network, it's tonight. Then let's go. Orion's house looked peaceful from the outside, but I knew it was a fortress. The Los Altos Hills mansion sat behind electronic gates, every inch the Silicon Valley success story. State-of-the-art security AI systems, motion sensors that could detect movement at 50 yards. But I'd helped design some of those systems. Remember, we go in quiet, Agent Kane whispered through my earpiece. FBI tactical is positioned, but we need Nova safe first. I studied the building from across the street. 2 years ago, Orion had asked for my security advice. I'd been so proud thinking my son wanted his old man's expertise. Now I realized he'd been planning betrayal even then. There, I pointed to the north wall. Blind spot in camera coverage. Motion sensors have a 3-second delay on that angle. We moved quickly, staying low. My 65-year-old knees protested, but adrenaline carried me forward. Nova was inside, terrified and alone. The external cameras were easy. I still had backdoor codes from my consulting work. A few keystrokes, and the security system showed empty lawn. The laser grid in the main hallway was new but predictable. I'd taught Orion about security redundancy. He'd learned too well. We crawled under the beams, following paths I'd mapped from memory. The house hummed with servers and climate control. Nova's voice came from below us, faint but unmistakable. Dad, are you there? The basement server room. Most secure location surrounded by electronic countermeasures. I found the hidden access panel behind the kitchen pantry. Another feature I'd suggested. Stairs led to a high-tech bunker. Nova sat tied to a chair, tears streaming, but her eyes lit up when she saw me. Dad, I'm here, sweetheart. I cut her restraints, pulling my daughter into a fierce hug. Dad, I heard them talking. Orion's been planning this for years. Grimm promised him everything. Money, power, new identity if they had to run. It's okay, we're getting you out. Not so fast. Orion stood in the doorway, unrecognizable. Cold eyes, calculating expression. A pistol in his right hand. I really hoped it wouldn't come to this, Dad. Orion, please. She's your sister. Sister. We're not even real family anymore, Dad. Blood doesn't mean anything when you've been living a lie your whole life. He stepped forward, gun steady. You both know too much now. I raised you better than this. You raised me to be weak, to follow rules, care about feelings. Grimm taught me what really matters. Power control, taking what you want. His voice turned bitter. You know what's funny? Grimm's been more of a father to me than you ever were. He saw my potential when you just saw disappointment. The words hit like physical blows, but they gave me an idea. You're right, son. Grimm taught you well. My phone was still connected to the house systems. While Orion gloated, I triggered automated lockdown. Steel shutters slammed over windows. The door sealed electromagnetically. Emergency lighting bathed everything red. What did you do? Orion spun, panic replacing confidence. Activated your own security against you. Something Grimm never taught. Always know your environment better than your enemy. The gun wavered. This doesn't change. Agent Kane moved like lightning, disarming Orion before he could finish. My son collapsed to his knees, finally looking like the scared boy I remembered. It's over, Orion. No. Barely a whisper. Grimm will never let this end. He'll kill all of us before letting his operation fall apart. Heavy footsteps echoed above us. Multiple sets moving with military precision. Game over, Atlas. Thaddeus Grimm's voice carried through the intercom, cold and amused. I'm afraid my young protege is right. This is far from over. Thaddeus Grimm walked into the room like he owned the place. Because he did. The man behind everything stepped through the sealed doorway, as if electromagnetic locks were merely suggestions. Tall, silver-haired, wearing a perfectly tailored suit that probably cost more than most people's cars. He moved with the confidence of someone who'd never faced real consequences for his actions. Until tonight. Atlas Meridian, the famous software architect. Grimm's voice carried the smooth polish of a man accustomed to boardrooms and power lunches. I've been looking forward to meeting you properly. The feeling isn't mutual. Oh, but it should be. You see, this has all been about you from the very beginning. Grimm gestured around the high-tech bunker. 10 years of careful planning. Your company, your innovations, your brilliant mind. I needed all of it. So you decided to steal it. And I decided to acquire it through the most efficient means available. Your son made an excellent inside man once we found the right leverage. Orion flinched at the words, still kneeling where Kane had left him. Reyna was even more useful, Grimm continued. Beautiful, intelligent, completely without conscience. The perfect handler for a weak-willed mark like Orion. And my wife? Grimm's expression didn't change. Adeline was brilliant, but inconvenient. She discovered our operation 6 months before her cancer diagnosis. We simply accelerated her timeline. The casual admission of murder hung in the air like poison gas. You're insane. I'm practical. Your wife's death served multiple purposes. It eliminated a threat, provided cover for our activities, and left you emotionally vulnerable. We could have continued indefinitely if she hadn't been so thorough in her documentation. Heavy footsteps echoed from the stairway above, multiple sets moving fast. That would be Detective Cross. Grimm smiled. Come to arrest you for industrial espionage and murder. Such a tragic end to a brilliant career. But the voice that called down wasn't Detective Cross. FBI building is surrounded. Detective Hunter's voice amplified through a megaphone. Grimm's confidence flickered for the first time. Impossible, Cross assured me. Cross has been under surveillance for 6 months, Agent Kane said, rising from behind the server rack. Every conversation, every payment, every order you gave her. We have it all. The sound of tactical teams moving through the house above us was unmistakable now. Grimm's perfectly orchestrated plan was collapsing in real time. Orion, tell them. Grimm's voice turned desperate. Tell them your father forced you into this. Tell them he was the mastermind. But my son just stared at the floor, broken. I can't do this anymore. Orion's voice was barely a whisper. I can't lie anymore. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. Pathetic! Raina's voice cut through the emotional moment like a blade. She'd been silent until now, calculating her options. You were always weak, Orion. Grimm should have known better than to trust a mama's boy. She moved toward the emergency exit I'd forgotten about, a maintenance tunnel that connected to the neighboring property. Agent Kane was faster, going somewhere Ms. Castellano. The takedown was swift and professional. Raina hit the floor hard, her designer outfit finally showing some wear. Thaddeus Grimm, you're under arrest for conspiracy, money laundering, and murder. Detective Hunter appeared at the top of the stairs, weapon drawn, but controlled. Atlas Nova, are you both all right? We're fine, I managed, still holding my daughter close. As they led Grimm away in handcuffs, he looked back at me one last time. You think this is over? There are others, bigger operations. You've won a battle, not the war. Maybe, but I've won the only battle that matters to me. The next few hours passed in a blur of statements, evidence collection, and medical checks. The FBI had been building their case for years, and tonight's operation had given them everything they needed. Orion was taken into custody, but Hunter assured me that his cooperation would be considered during sentencing. Raina showed no remorse, already demanding lawyers and making threats about what she'd reveal if they didn't cut her a deal. As the house finally emptied of law enforcement, I found myself alone in Orion's office. That's when I noticed it. A small envelope tucked behind his computer monitor, marked with Adeline's handwriting. For Atlas when it's over. Inside was a single sheet of paper. My darling husband, if you're reading this, then you've done what I knew you could do. You've saved our family. You've found the strength I always saw in you, but you never saw in yourself. I love you forever, and I'm so proud of the man you've become. Take care of Nova. Take care of yourself. And remember, love transcends everything, even death. Adeline. I sat in that empty office and cried for the first time since her funeral. But these weren't tears of grief anymore. They were tears of gratitude. 6 months later, I stood in federal court as Grimm received his sentence. Life imprisonment without parole. Judge Martinez's voice carried absolute finality. The man who'd murdered my wife and corrupted my son finally faced justice. Raina got 25 years, showing no remorse even in shackles. Orion received 15 years reduced for cooperation. When they read his sentence, he looked at me across the courtroom. Frightened, ashamed, but finally honest. I nodded to him. Not forgiveness yet, but a beginning. The $89 million recovered went back to defrauded investors. I donated my portion to a foundation educating seniors about financial fraud and cybersecurity. If Adeline's death was going to mean something, it had to protect other families. Nova moved back to California, taking a cybersecurity job in San Francisco. We had dinner every Sunday now, sharing stories about her mother, rebuilding trust that Orion's betrayal had damaged. Do you think Mom knew what was going to happen? Nova asked one evening. I thought about Adeline's final message, her careful arrangements to protect us even after death. Your mother understood that love isn't just emotion. It's choosing someone else's well-being above your own every single day. I started teaching cybersecurity at the local senior center. Every Tuesday and Thursday, helping people my age navigate the digital dangers that had nearly destroyed us. It was Adeline's work, using knowledge to protect the vulnerable. Sundays after dinner, I'd visit Adeline's grave in the hills above Fremont. The simple headstone read, Beloved Wife, Mother, and Truth Seeker. "Thank you for trusting me with the truth," I'd tell her. "Thank you for believing I was stronger than I knew." From the cemetery, you could see the tech companies below, places where dreams were born and sometimes corrupted. But you could also see neighborhoods where families lived, children played, people like us built lives worth protecting. I'd learned that family isn't about blood. It's about people who stand by you when everything falls apart, who trust you with secrets, who believe in your strength when you don't. Detective Hunter and Agent Kane became friends. Monthly coffee meetings sharing stories about justice served. They'd shown me there were still good people fighting for what's right. Technology should serve humanity, not destroy it. That lesson I passed to students, to Nova, to anyone who'd listen. Our tools should strengthen families and protect communities, not tear them apart for profit. Sitting in my apartment that evening, looking at Adeline's photo, I realized something profound. She wasn't really gone. Her love, wisdom, and fierce protection lived on in every choice I made, every person I helped, every moment I chose truth over convenience. The encrypted drive sat in my desk drawer. Now its secrets revealed purpose, fulfilled. But Adeline's real inheritance wasn't digital evidence. It was knowledge that love transcends everything, even death itself. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the chance to discover their own strength. The cemetery overlooked Silicon Valley's gleaming towers, but from up there you could see what really mattered. The homes where families gathered, the schools where children learned, the communities where people chose to care for each other despite the risks. Adeline had taught me that truth isn't just about facts and evidence. It's about the courage to act on what you know is right, even when it costs everything. Looking back on this true story, I realize how blind I was to the signs right in front of me. Don't be like me. Don't ignore your instincts when something feels wrong about the people closest to you. I trusted too easily, loved too blindly. When Orion started flashing money and expensive cars, I should have asked harder questions. When Raina seemed too perfect, too eager to please, I should have been suspicious. But like many grandpa stories teach us, sometimes we learn wisdom only through pain. God has a way of revealing truth when we're ready to handle it, even when that truth shatters everything we believed about our family. I spent 3 years grieving Adeline's death, never knowing she'd been murdered by our own son's greed. The Lord works in mysterious ways. He used my wife's love from beyond the grave to save what remained of our family. This true story taught me that technology can be both blessing and curse. The same encrypted drive that revealed my son's betrayal also contained my wife's final act of love. Don't be like me. Don't wait until tragedy strikes to truly see the people around you. If you're hearing this among other grandpa stories about family betrayal and redemption, remember, blood doesn't guarantee loyalty, but love transcends even death itself. God gave me strength I didn't know I possessed when I needed it most. The hardest lesson: sometimes protecting your family means fighting against your own children. I pray to God that none of you ever face such a choice. But if you do, remember, truth is always worth the cost, no matter how much it hurts. This true story changed me forever. At 65, I learned that being a grandfather means more than just loving your family. It means having the courage to hold them accountable when they lose their way. Don't be like me. Don't let blind love make you an accomplice to evil, even when that evil wears the face of someone you raised. What would you have done in my situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, please share it with others who might need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful grandpa stories that remind us what really matters in life.